everybody, and welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I am Eric. On the bar for today, Glenlivet 12 Illicit Still, and we will put it up against the standard Glenlivet 12. We'll talk a little bit about the value. We'll do a nose taste finish review. I'll share final thoughts, tell you which one I think is better and why, and of course, leave you with a malt musing. But first, if you've yet to take a second, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these reviews. They come out every single Friday here on YouTube. I also have a happy hour live stream every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to see you there. So first and foremost, Glenlivet, one of the biggest distilleries in the world, probably one of the single malts, at least, that folks are most familiar with. They're from Speyside, and their standard release, the 12-year-old, is a whiskey that you can see in probably any airport you ever visit. Is probably on the bar of anybody you know who owns a bottle of scotch or two, and can be found at any bar. However, recently they have released a special release here in the US. I believe this was released last year, 2021, called the Glenlivet 12 Years Old Illicit Still. So what's the difference between these two bottlings? So first and foremost, the regular double oaked standard 12. It's an ex-bourbon and it's an ex-sherry cask maturation, 12 years old, 40% ABV, chill filtered, yes. Fake color, yes. This Illicit Still, 12 years old, same maturation. However, this is non-chill filtered and is bumped up to 48% ABV. Color probably still has fake coloring added, but here's what it has to say. Before George Smith licensed his distillery in 1824, the Glenlivet Valley was filled with illicit whiskey trade. This limited edition is inspired by our founder's original and illegally distilled Glenlivet whiskey. So basically what we have here is, on the one hand, a Glenlivet that's supposed to be a callback to how the whiskey tasted back in the early days, in the early 1800s, and then we have our contemporary whiskey. Now, one thing I will mention before we continue, I did do a review recently of the regular Glenlivet 12. I put it up against the Glenfiddich 12. If you have not seen that review before, you can go check it out. My final score on this was a 2.75 out of 5, which is a slightly under average for me. So we're going to take a look here and see if this bump up in ABV, a little bit higher price, non-chill filtration brings anything else to the table here and is worth your money if you are looking to buy yourself a nice Glenlivet. First of all, here is the Glenlivet regular 12. Here is the Illicit Still. There's literally not much difference in color. Maybe the Illicit Still is a hair darker. Again, these are probably fake colors because they've added E158 caramel colorant to both of these, so I would not be at all surprised if that's the case. So here we go, regular Glenlivet 12. Again, sweet orchard fruits on the nose. There's honey, there's apple, a little bit of other kind of ripe yellow fruits, a little bit of touch of cinnamon, a little bit of barrel char, little creaminess, medium long finish. Actually, let me take it back. Medium short finish. A little bit of alcohol on the nose. It's a totally serviceable whiskey. It doesn't bring anything very unique to the table. Just a very light drinking single malt scotch. There's plenty worse. Okay, now on to this Illicit Still. On the nose. Similar nose, however, I will say there's a little bit darker notes here, a bit oakier. You're getting a bit more cask. Still that same kind of sweetness, the honey, a little bit of toffee, the apple, the pear, slight nutmeg. Okay, here we go. Oh, what a difference. Scotch Whiskey 101 is at play here. Really any Whiskey 101. More alcohol means more flavor, okay? So the higher ABV, the more flavor molecules you're going to have in the whiskey. Why? Because the flavor is tied to the alcohol molecules, and it is absolutely noticeable on this. This is a richer whiskey. It's chocolatey, creamy, vanilla. Still some of that honey, some of that sweet apple. Goes into a medium long finish. Apple cinnamon, quite nice, quite oily. The difference is just it's quite stark. I expected it to be so, and it's definitely delivering. This is just a much, again, richer whiskey, more flavor, more concentrated. It's not hot. Complexity-wise, I'm not getting a ton of different notes. This is just a bolder, stronger version so far of the regular Glenlivet 12. Now, the other difference between these two, besides the ABV, is the use of chill filtration. The regular Glenlivet 12 is chill filtered at 40% ABV. And the reason for this, and the reason some distilleries in Scotch whiskey do this, is to get a consistently looking product when water is added or something, right? So what you see here is that this whiskey is not going to get cloudy. And that's because a lot of the heavier oils have been stripped out of it by chill filtration. You don't see what is called Scotch mist. Conversely, on this one, and it's starting to show just a little bit, but you are getting a little bit of a cloudier looking whiskey. And that is because they haven't chill filtered it. They've left those oils in. So part of the reason that mouthfeel has a more viscosity, more thickness, and I think all in all a better delivery of the product is because they didn't strip out a lot of the heavier oils that really kind of give whiskey some of its character. So with water, Glenlivet 12 original, apple, slight cinnamon, honey, getting a little bit of a citric bite. Here we go. So the addition of water has brought up this a little more to the table. Got a bit of a more oily mouthfeel. Again, these are not, neither of these I would say are very heavy whiskeys, but the water has definitely helped the regular Glenlivet 12. However, you are left with a little bit of this kind of aspartame, kind of fake sugar note going into the finish here. Not a wonderful finish on this. Leaves something to be desired for sure. There are some hints of milk chocolate popping through. Now let's go to the Glenlivet 12 Illicit still with a little bit of water. Okay, wow, see. Breaking up those, separating those alcohol molecules a bit has really opened this whiskey up. I'm getting a lot of rich toffee, almost slightly like peanut brittle. Maybe even a little bit of a hazelnut. Really nice. Caramel, light brown sugar even. Hints of dark red, or hints of like a dried red fruit, but again, mostly kind of apple, yellow apple, apple cinnamon. Here we go. Again, kept a lot of nice flavor intact here. Giving it a little more spice. Spice is kicked up a bit with water here. It's like a little bit more like hot cinnamon candy. I think I might have actually preferred that with without water, but not bad at all. Okay, let's talk value on these. The regular Glenlivet 12. This is a bottle you can find for about $35 to $40 these days here in the US, early 2022. But the one that we really want to talk about is this Glenlivet 12 Illicit still. First of all, not exclusive, despite it saying limited release on here. You can find this pretty much anywhere in the US. If you do, you'll find it right around $50. So you're looking at about $10 to $15 difference between this and the regular Glenlivet 12-year-old. I would put this at a medium high value. I think it's a pretty solid price for the ABV, the non-chill filtration, the age statement, what you're getting here. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in final thoughts. So let's do it. So two things to say here as we go into final thoughts. Number one, it's just another reminder that ABV makes a huge difference in a whiskey. The higher the ABV, the more concentrated flavor you're going to get. That doesn't mean that's always a good thing, but for the most part, I would argue that it is. And I think the contrast between this and the Illicit Still and the standard Glenlivet 12 is just a big example of that. The second is chill filtration. Non-chill filtered whiskey is always something you want to look for. Some Scotch whiskey distilleries, now they are not legally required to tell you if it is chill filtered or not chill filtered here in the United States. But a lot of them will at least mention it if they're not chill filtering, because it is a point of pride. And the difference between these two, I think, again, can go back to not only just the ABV, but the mouthfeel and the oiliness. And I think that this Illicit Still is clearly the better product here because they're not chill filtering, because they're not serving it at the bare minimum of 40% ABV. So my score on the regular Glenlivet 12 is going to stay where it was, 2.75 out of 5. However, for $10, $15 more, would I recommend you grabbing the 12 Illicit Still, whether you want it as a sipper, whether you want it as something that you would mix in a cocktail? Absolutely, yes. This is a 3.5 out of 5 for me. That means I do recommend you try this. And if you find it at a good price around that $50 mark, maybe sometimes even a little less, I would grab this, even if you are have moved on from the beginner Scotch whiskeys. And this is still one that I think would make take a good place on your bar, because it is really a good whiskey. It's very enjoyable. It's easy drinking, but it's got some character and some body to it, and that is because of that higher ABV and the fact that they're not chill filtering it. Don't we wish all the distilleries would serve their or present their whiskeys at higher than 40% and not chill filter any of them? One can dream. You can vote with your dollars on that, and hopefully the message will resonate eventually with some of the bigger distilleries. So 3.5 out of 5 for the Glenlivet 12 Illicit Still. Good stuff. Keep an eye out for that. And with that, I will kick you on over to your malt musing. Thanks for checking this out. Make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't. I would love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time here on Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. Let's launch.